Hey, it's Keith Smith from PilotEdge, getting ready to do my I-1 rating here out of John Wayne in my Baron for X-Plane. We'll be going from John Wayne to John Wayne, shooting the ILS runway 20 right approach with vectors to final. So we need to get connected to the network, file a flight plan, brief the approach, and then we can be on our way. So connecting to the network, November 132 Kilo Tango, BE58 for the aircraft type.
Connected to PilotEdge.
Done. Filing a flight plan. BE58 slant alpha. I guess, you know what? Historically, I filed slant alpha. The GPS in X-Plane is now just about suitable for IFR operations, so I will say that we are slant Golf for the first time in a long time. So BE58 slant Golf, John Wayne to John Wayne via Seal Beach, altitude of 3K, true airspeed 165 knots. The weather is a little bit low today, 500 overcast or so from when I last checked, so we're going to need an alternate here. I've put in Palomar for the alternate, and in the remarks we say we're doing the I-1 rating, 15 minutes en route, and 3.5 hours of gas. Filed. Okay, inside the Baron. Clearance delivery is 118.0. We'll start with the ATIS first, 126.0.
Orange County, John Wayne Information Echo. 2100 Zulu weather. Wind calm. Visibility 4. Sky conditions 500 broken. 2500 overcast. Temperature 18. Dew point 18. Altimeter 2998. Arriving and departing runways 0 to left, 0 to right. Advise on initial contact. You have Echo.
Okay, that's Echo. Ground 126.8. Actually, that's not correct. The east side ground 120.8. And then clearance 118.0. Doing this all on the COM2. That's set. Tower on the, I'm going to request 20 right. So that would be the west side. Get the longer runway. West side is 126.8. And we'll see what our departure frequency ends up being. Okay, so I'll be set on COM2 here. And let's pick up the clearance. John Wayne clearance, Baron 132, Kilo Tango, request the I-1 rating, ready to copy clearance with Echo.
Baron 132 Kilo Go, John Wayne clearance. Good afternoon. For your I-1 rating, clear to John Wayne Airport on departure of lane 220. Radar vectors Seal Beach, direct. Maintain 2000. Expect 3000 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 128.1, squawk 2337.
Baron 132 Kilo Tango, cleared to John Wayne Airport, heading 220, radar vectors Seal Beach, direct, maintain 2, expect 3 and 10, departure 128.1, squawk 2337.
Baron 132 Kilo Go, read back correct.
2 Kilo Tango. Okay, we'll swap over to ground, we'll have that ready. Change departure frequency here, 128.1. That's ready. Squawk is 2337. That's all set. Okay, just a quick note about how I'm swapping between COM1 and COM2 because it's not entirely obvious. This is X-Plane 10.5. This video may not stand the test of time, but right now, the way this audio panel works, when you click these buttons here to either start receiving or stop receiving on a particular radio, this doesn't affect which radio you're transmitting on at all. It is purely the receive radio. So the transmit radio by default is 1, so even if I'm receiving on 2, if I were to transmit, I would only be transmitting on the COM1 radio by default. What I have done is map buttons on my stick. I have a Cytec Aviator stick, and this red knob down here I have mapped to transmit audio COM1 and transmit audio COM2. These are under the audio panel settings in X-Plane 10.5. Now I know X-Plane 11 is coming out in just a little while, so this will eventually look quite different, but conceptually the idea is exactly the same. I have mapped buttons on my stick to these functions, so when I twist it to the right, it transmits on 2. When I twist it to the left, it transmits on 1. You can see the transmit settings are different than the monitoring settings. These are for receiving audio, this is for transmitting audio. So be sure you know exactly which radio you're transmitting on any given time. Okay, enough of the technical side. We've got our clearance. We are ready to talk to ground. And then we have tower and departure ready to go on COM1. So I'm all set with that. Okay, let me shut down my avionics for now. Actually, no, I'm going to leave them on because I may be tuning some more radios. So normally I wouldn't brief an approach on the ground. However, since we are departing and arriving at the same airport, this seems like a prudent time to go through the approach. So this is the ILS runway 20 right, I should say ILS or localizer runway 20 right approach here at the John Wayne Airport. The nav aid that we're using is the localizer DME, and the frequency for that is 111.75. So let's get that in. That's done. The final approach course is 196. We can spin that in, although we may be using an interim heading because it is supposed to be vector Seal Beach, so we'll see. Okay, 196. That's pretty darn close right there. Let's identify the localizer. So I'd like to listen to nav 1. Okay, 2 dots, 3 dots, dash, dot, dot, dash. That was correct. And that's from right here on the plate, on the bottom here. Okay, we're also going to need Seal Beach 115.7. Put that on the nav 2, we'll identify that. Okay, so I've got the localizer on 1 and Seal Beach on nav 2. Lemon is the fix I'm going to care about the most likely, so 076 on the nav 2 gives me a way of identifying lemon using a crossing radial. Okay, we've got 3 ways to identify lemon. That's the final approach fix right there. And that would be, we could use GPS to identify it. We could use DME, which is 7.8 DME on the localizer. Or we could use the Seal Beach 076 radial. Redundancy is good. Okay, I'm all set, so let's see, I think I'm done setting avionics for now. I'm going to save some battery here in the airplane and take out the avionics and the master for now while we brief this approach. Okay, so we've got the localizer identified, final approach course is set. Look at the notes for the approach. When the local altimeter setting is not received, we have to use the Fullerton altimeter and increase all decision altitudes by 36 feet and the MDAs by 40 feet. DAs are for precision approaches, MDAs are for non-precision. Remember, this is the ILS or localizer. But it's moot because we are going to have the local altimeter. We would increase the DIAS fix minimums, we don't care. Increase the cap visibilities, we don't care. The visual descent point is not authorized when using Fullerton altimeter, doesn't matter. We have an RVR of 1800 that is authorized with the use of flight director or autopilot or heads-up display down to DA, and that's an asterisk. So let's have a look at the plate and see where that applies. Okay, if we look at the straight-in ILS 20 right minimums, they are normally 255 MSL with an RVR of 2,400 feet, 2400. That is reduced to 1800 if you have a heads-up display. We barely have a parking brake in this airplane, let alone a heads-up display. So 255 with 2400 RVR would be the minimums for us. Okay, final approach fix is Lemon. Well, technically, Lemon is the non-precision final approach fix, where that Maltese cross is right there. It also happens to be the minimum intercept altitude for the glide slope occurs at Lemon. That's coincidental that those are located at the same point. It's equally frequent that the glide slope intercept altitude that's published with a lightning bolt is slightly outside of that fix, the regular non-precision final approach fix. But in this case, they're co-located. That's why you see 2200 in two places. One is at the lightning bolt, that's our precision final approach fix, and 2200 is also the altitude for Lemon, which is the non-precision final approach fix where the Maltese cross is. I'm trying to keep it simple, but very quickly you can start diving down different rabbit holes. I'll try not to do that so much. We're going to be getting vectored to the final approach course, but it is important to be aware of what the step downs are outside of that. So if we're joining outside of Sega, for example, it's 3500 or above, Snake is 3400 above, Bonk is 2800 or above, and then Lemon is 2200 above. They'll probably have us join somewhere between Bonk and Snake in my experience, so we'll be aware of those different step downs. Okay, the missed approach for this procedure is to continue along the localizer outbound up to 3,000 feet to Minnow. And Minnow is 10.9 DME on the other side of John Wayne. It can also be identified through the Los Angeles 113.6 VOR right there. That'd be the 123 radial off of LAX. So what we could do to be prepared as I get ready to fire up here, I'll try and set I think I'll set LA 113.6 as a nice reminder in my nav to standby. That's done. Okay, avionics back off, leave the master on, let's start the engine and go. Happy with my briefing there. I'm aware that you don't start an injected engine with a mixture rich, but I don't really have the capability to hold down the starter and move my mixture at the same time, so I'm treating it as more of a carbureted start. Okay, we'll get the beacon on. This is the newer Baron, and you can't turn off the yoke, unlike the old Baron, so it's a little hard to get around. I'll get my beacon on here, get my boost pump on, and you know, we're really here to see the ILS, not how to fly a Baron, so I'm going to move this along. Okay, good start on one, get the gen going, pump off. Lean for ground ops, mixtures rich on second engine, starting 2, crack throttle, good start on 2, lean for ground ops, alternator, brakes. Could have been exciting, couldn't it? Pumps off. I'll run a taxi light, nav lights are fine. And it's a good start. Now we'll get our avionics on. And we are good to go. Listen on
Baron 142 Echo, transient parking,
transmitting
south
on 2,
departure
good
with
to
whiskey.
go. Okay, let's set the heading bug to 220.
Baron 142 Echo, thank you for whiskey, runway 29er, taxi via Alpha.
Taxi via Alpha 22 Echo.
Okay, I'm parked here on the southeast side of the airport. I'm going to request 20 right.
608 Juliet Delta, code Roger 5x5.
John May ground, Baron 132 Kilo Tango southeast ramp with Echo, taxi, request 20 right.
Baron 608 Juliet Delta, squawk 4601 IDEM.
Salute Tower, Cherokee 231 Whiskey Bravo's downwind.
Baron 132 Kilo Go, John Wayne ground, runway 20 left at Kilo, taxi via Alpha, Hotel, Charlie, Kilo.
Runway 20 left at Kilo via Alpha Hotel Charlie Kilo, request runway 20 right for Baron 2 Kilo Tango.
Air 132 Kilo Tango. Runway 20 right. Taxi instructions remain the same. Hold short, runway 20 left to Kilo.
Okay, runway 20 right at Kilo. Taxi via Alpha Hotel Charlie Kilo, short of 20 left. Bearing 2 Kilo Tango. Okie dokie. Crossing into
For 608 Julieta.
movement area.
Radar contact 5.5 miles southwest of Van Nuys VOR. Burbank altimeter 29907.
Okay, it's important to
Do
know
you
where
have
you are on
enough
the airport.
Van Nuys Airport in sight?
That gives us some orientation. That picture right there looks about the same as what's on the map.
Bearing
So-
8 Juliet Delta and a right downwind for runway 16 right.
Okay, so we're on Alpha right here.
Sunbury Tower, Cherokee 231 is late downwind.
Cherokee 1 Whiskey Bravo, keep runway 29 clear for the option.
Clear for the options, 231 Whiskey Bravo.
Okay, so it's important when you're flying a sim to know where you are on the airport.
Bearing 8 Juliet Delta, tag Van Nuys Tower, 119.3.
In real life, you actually walk out to the airplane, so it's blindingly obvious where you are, and you have really good awareness. In a sim, because we can move around so easily, it's not always obvious where you are.
1050 with information India IFR to Las Vegas.
And
Delta
traditionally,
1050 Limburg clearance clear to Las Vegas McCarran International Airport. Pebble 6 departure Santa Catalina transition then as filed. Climb via FedEx maintain 15,000. Expect flight level 350 minutes after departure.
this hotel.
Flight level 360 is unavailable for your direction of flight. Departure frequency 19.6, squawk 3617.
So in the past when we've run sims, you haven't necessarily cared where we're on the airport because you tend to start on the runway for offline flying. Not many people practice taxiing. So if you're coming over from real world flying, this is an important step
Riverside Tower, Skycatcher 263, clear
To adjust
runway
your
27,
expectations a
request
little bit.
taxi to transient parking.
to start being aware of where you are on the ground.
Skycatcher 263, taxi at transient parking via Alpha. Remain this frequency. Have a great day.
Okay, so we're continuing.
Taxi via
along
Alpha, remain on this
Charlie.
frequency, Skycatcher 263, thank you.
Charlie, the
And
air
nice
taxi
turn over
right
to
here.
698 Juliet
Take this all the way down
Delta,
to Kilo.
downwind for 16 right.
For 608 Juliet Delta Van Nuys Tower, runway 16 right, clear to land when calm.
Clear to land, runway 16 right, 8 Juliet Delta.
Okay, passing Juliet.
Delta 1050 Limburg clearance, did you copy your clearance?
St. Louis Tower, bearing 142 Echo, holding short, 29er VFR.
Or 1422 Echo, hold short, runway 29er, traffic at Cherokee Fort, short final.
Okay, here goes Kilo.
Echo.
Delta 1050 Limburg clearance.
Right, 20 left at Kilo. Stop the airplane. We're going to be crossing active runways here, so we may as well just light everything up. So we'll swap to landing lights on, strobes on. I'll get my pumps on, mixture rich. We shall swap to the tower. All we got to do is just swap to COM 1 for that. That's done. Now we're talking to tower. Join tower, Brown 132, Kilo Tango, short of 20 left at Kilo for 20 right.
Bear 132 Kilo go, John Wayne Tower. Cross runway 20 left at Kilo. Runway 20 right at Kilo. Clear for takeoff. Wind 2304.
Okay, cross 20 left, runway 20 right at Kilo, clear for takeoff, bearing 2 Kilo Tango. Alright, finals clear both sides, cross this runway, take off on the other runway. Okay, just checking the HSI matches the magnetic compass, so that's done. This is 20 right at Kilo. Here comes the localizer coming in. That's good, we know that's working well. And we can go ahead and keep it rolling. Okay, HSI checks out. This is 20 right. We have
Baron 142 Echo holding short
engine
29er.
instruments are all in the green. Airspeed is alive. Maintain the sunline.
They're 1422 X on Lewis Tower. That Cherokee's on the left crossrun, runway
That's
29er
positive.
clear for
He's
takeoff. Of course, approved.
Clear for takeoff, 29er will good Cherokee. Echo. I like the
Left aileron
possible.
200 feet.
422
looking for
Echo,
400
red.
before the turn.
Your 8 Juliet Delta, Cedar Park via Alpha, remain this frequency.
Okay, parking via Alpha, remain this
400
frequency,
feet,
Juliet
220
Delta.
heading. Swap to my IFR panel view.
Bear 2 Kilo Tango, Texel, got departure.
Over to departure, 2 kill tango. Okay, I've got a button on the joystick to swap the standby, so that we are at 28.1. And we'll check in with SoCal. SoCal departure, Baron 132, kill tango 900, climbing 2000.
Bear 132 Kilo Tango, got departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 3000.
Out of 1.2 for 3000, Baron 2 kill tango. Okie dokie. After takeoff, pumps off, pumps back. It's a little bit drastic on the props, a bit more than I wanted. Running lights can go. And keep the climb up to 3000.
Cherokee 1 Whiskey
Bit more
Bravo,
prop
way
than I wanted.
29er, cleared for the option.
Okay, 220 on the heading. Got the ILS plate right there. Looking for 3000. SoCal Baron 132, he'll take a request back, desire ILS runway 20 right, full stop.
Bear 2 Kilo Tango, red back vectors, ILS 420, red approach.
Expect that, 2 kill tango. Now, as it happens, that's the approach that's in use because of the weather, so that was actually a little bit redundant. But in the event that you're flying in VMC and the visuals is in use, make sure you tell them, per the Aeronautical Information Manual, if you have an approach request for an approach other than the one that's in use, try and advise ATC as soon as possible. Okay, we are at 3000 feet, pull the power back to cruise.
Bear 2 Kilo Tango, right heading 020, vector approach.
020, Baron 2 kill tango. Right, that's 3000, coming right. So, if you're wondering how I'm swapping from those views so quickly, I've got them pre-programmed on the number pad, so X-Plane allows you to save 3D views. So I've got one for my left wing, one for the right wing.
De Havilland 42, De Havilland 462,
One for the
Foxtrot
radio
Echo,
panel.
number clearance.
One for the
Clear
autopilot
to
panel. etc.
Borrego Air Ranch Airport. Boulder 7 departure to Julian. Direct, maintain 8000, expect 1000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 119.6, squawk 5625.
Looks like we're on top, life is good. Let's get back to our panel. So definitely encourage you to set yourself up for success, get the views you need so you're not fiddling around. Something as simple as being able to
Havilland 2 Foxtrot Echo,
swap
redirect.
your COM1 primary and standby frequencies and the flip-flop on that joystick is great. So
Brand 2 Kilo Tango, flight heading 010.
0102 Kilo Tango. Alright, yeah, 010 right there instead. I've also got pitch and aileron trim set up here on my four-way hat on the top here, so it makes it quite easy to do hands-on flight. If you get your sim set up properly, there really shouldn't be any reason you can't fly it fairly easily by hand.
Air 1 Bravo Whiskey, runway 9er, clear for the option.
This is not the world's best joystick either. It's a $30 joystick that's now about 7 years old. Its null zone is getting a bit hairy, so it sometimes sticks with a little bit of elevator input if I'm not careful, but it's bearable. And if it became unbearable, then I'd use the autopilot a lot more. It just depends on what you're looking to practice, I suppose. Okay, so we are... you know what? I'm kind of used to the really old GPS that was almost useless, so I tend to pretty much ignore the X-Plane GPS, but really it has come a long way. So if we have a bit of a look, see what we're doing. Just make sure it doesn't affect our scan too much. So 010, got to come just a tiny bit left. I don't know what that's supposed to be trying to show us there. When this radial comes in on my nav2, that means we'll be passing through the Seal Beach 076 radial on the chart, which is for Lemon. So that'll tell us we're beam the final approach fix. That's kind of helpful to know. So we shouldn't really bother slowing down or anything like that. We haven't even crossed that yet. Turn off the plate for now so we can just enjoy the view of the sim. Come left just about another 10 degrees. I'm getting kind of flying the heading bug, which was 020 from before. Let's update that to 010. There we go. Okay, so we're always trying to think about where am I now, where am I going next. If we're on our own navigation, I'd make sure that our instruments are set up to identify the next turning point that we have, and be mentally prepared for what we then set the avionics to after that. For example, if it was a new radial, a dog leg and an airway, or using a different VOR, I'd have that frequency ready to go and
Bravo Whiskey,
stand by.
runway clear for the
In
option.
this case, we're just being vectored, so I'm anticipating the next thing will be a right turn at some point. We're on 010, which is pretty much
231
the
Whiskey, Bravo, runway
reciprocal
29 clear for the option.
of the runway heading, so she's got us essentially on a downwind here. The next thing I anticipate
2
is a
Kilo
right
Tango
turn.
from 020.
020, going to continue. Now the final approach course is 197. So sorry, 196. So using a 30-degree intercept as the maximum, I'd expect if we're being vectored from the west side, that our intercept heading would be probably 160, so I'm going to anticipate that she gives us a 160 heading to join. So we can just visualize we're going to make a right turn onto the base, most likely, like a 110 heading 120. It doesn't really matter, but we'll be put onto some sort of right base, most likely, and then one more turn to join the localizer. So it should just be right turns from here on in for the most part.
November 1422 Echo Santa Maria Tower. Go ahead.
Sounds like they had a shift change up there in the Tricom. Okay, so in
November
addition to using the
1422
radio, we
Echo,
can, of course,
Roger,
use
entry
daily-
left downwind, runway 30, report midfield.
Ah, yep, so there's a problem. Glad I did the double check. It felt like by now we would have passed through that radial, the 076. I just checked the DME and it's 9.5 and increasing. Lemon is at 7.8 DME. Actually, it's not going to let me bring the charts back up. Sorry about that on the stream. But Lemon's supposed to be at 7.8 DME, so I just double checked my frequency. Remember how when we put LAX into the nav2? Well, I never made Seal Beach active again. There we go. So we have passed. We have passed Lemon. We're at 10.6 DME, so we're about coming up on 3 miles past Lemon, so I'll be expecting a right turn in the relatively near future. So optionally we could slow down if you're not, if you're comfortable getting everything slowed down prior to getting vectored on the final.
132 Kilo Tango, traffic 12, 1 o'clock, 3 miles south, turning southeast bound VFR aircraft indicating 3,200.
2 Kilo Tango, negative contact IMC.
Roger.
Okay, so we'll be anticipating a right turn fairly shortly.
Bearing 2 Kilo Tango, turn right heading 100.
Heading 100, bearing 2 Kilo Tango. Okay, standard turn to the right. So again, feel free to slow down if you like, if you need to slow the process down. Just for brevity, I'm going to keep the speed going. And I'm comfortable maintaining a higher speed until we're on final. As long as you can stay ahead of the airplane, fly as fast as you like. Okay, so where are we now? We're on a right base, essentially. And what are we doing next?
Bearing 2 Kilo Tango, 6 miles from Lumen, turn
This
right
is
heading 170, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS, runway 20 right, approach.
173 till established, cleared ILS 20 right, bearing 2 Kilo Tango. So just keep the turn going, 170. So 30 degrees was the maximum intercept. In this case, the control is using closer to 20. Okay, so 120 heading bug set, 3000 is set, so we just keep the turn going. We will roll out, so again, we're shooting for 170. The next thing that I'm waiting for after 170 is for that localizer to come in. So again, always be thinking, what are we doing now, what are we doing next? Because if you get too, depending on how fast the localizer is coming up, if you get so fixated on rolling out on the 170 heading, you might actually fly right through the localizer, depending on how tight the control is kept in. And as you can see, it's capping relatively quickly as localizers come alive. But imagine that if that sequence happened a little bit faster, if we were still on the turn to 170 and the localizer came alive, we may have missed it. So
November 1
make sure
Whiskey
you
Bravo,
keep the big
taxi into the
picture in
ramp
mind
via
too.
Alpha and monitor ground point 6.
And why are we turning to that heading? It's to join the localizer, so be aware that the localizer might be coming. Okay, and 3 till established, we're now established. Where are we on the localizer? That's the big question. We are at 11.5 DME. Using the chart, that puts us between Bonk and Snake. Bonk has a minimum altitude of 2,800 feet, so let's drop down to 2,800. And we can ignore the 170 heading, and let's fly the HSI. So we drop into 2,800 feet, and we're keeping that until Bonk, which is 10 DME. After Bonk, we can drop down to 2,200 for glide slope intercept. Or if we like, we can just start flying the glide slope now. Just make sure we don't violate any step ins. Okay, 10.1 DME and 10.0 DME. That is Bonk pass. Now we drop to 2,200 feet. Okay, that's the view outside, not much to see. Let's get back to our panel. Okay, so all the actions
November 1
on the
Whiskey
HSI
Bravo,
right
nice
now.
job on the Cat 3, I'll submit that for you now.
Pull just a smidge more power, I'd like to slow it down just a little bit.
Number
And
22 Echo,
also adding
roger,
a little
runway
bit of nose
30,
up trim.
cleared to land, wind 3008.
By just pulling power back, all that's going to do is increase my descent rate. So what I really want to do is actually slow down a bit.
Number 132 Kilo Tango, contact John Wayne Tower 126.8.
126.8, bearing 2 Kilo Tango. Okay, frequency is already set. Just hit the flip-flop button on my joystick. Done. John Wayne Tower, bearing 132 Kilo Tango, ILS 20 right. Okay, there's the final approach.
Bearing 132 Kilo Tango, John Wayne Tower, good afternoon, wind 230 at 4, runway 20 right, clear to land.
To land 20 right, bearing 2 Kilo Tango. Okay, I have, right, the gear has just come down. Let's get our pre-landing squared away. So we'll do mixtures, right wrench, props, fall forward. Landing lights. Full boost pump. Altitude's good, but we got to come left. I'll go approach flap, and I do have the 3 down in green, mixtures, wrench, props, full forward. So pre-landing checklist is complete. I'm now configured with approach flaps. I felt a little balloon right there. Okay, we are descending down to 255 would be the minimum, so we approach. Okay, we're on glide slope. We are just a smidgen left of the course, but just a hair. Just re-trimming for basically hands off here. I was finding myself holding quite a bit of forward pressure, so ever since I got the flaps out. So trim nose down. And we're looking pretty good. Okay, descent rate's about 550 feet a minute. It's looking pretty good. We're now ever so slightly right of course, so we're going to come left just a hair. Okay, we've got our landing clearance, pre-landing's all done, we're just flying into minimums, and I'm going to look up, and we're either going to see the runway or we're not.
November 22 Echo, taxi into the ramp via Alpha and monitor ground
quick
point
look
niner.
outside just for fun, nothing to see.
Ramp
Back
via
inside.
Alpha, we'll monitor ground, point niner, 22.
Okay, what I'm expecting is just out of my peripheral vision here on the left side, right where the window is, right around 500 feet, will start breaking out, I suspect. But for practice, I'm going to fly it right down to minimum, so we'll ignore that. Okay, and in getting myself distracted, we're slightly high and we're slightly left of course. We're fixing both of those things. Remember, as you get closer to the runway, the localizer is going to become more sensitive. So the correction should be relatively gentle. Try and spot them as early as you can and make the smallest correction possible to fix it. Otherwise you get into a PIO just going sideways. Sure enough, 500 feet, I see terrain out to my left, but for practice I'm going to keep flying the approach down to 255 feet. Altitude's looking pretty good. Okay, we are left of course. Fixing it. It's 300 feet. It's the middle marker, let's look up for that. And there's the field. Okay, continuing, not going to change a darn thing about how the airplane's configured. Not really any time to go to full flap. I could, but it's more hassle than it's worth.
November 22 Echo, nice job on the cap. We're also mid depth for you now.
Thanks very much, your Echo.
Okay, we'll look for an exit to the left to go back to our west ramp. Ah, those rental brakes. Always.
November 2 Kilo Tango, contact ground 120.8.
Ground 120.8, bearing 2 Kilo Tango. Okay, clear the runway, stop the airplane, swap to COM 2, done. And after landing checklist, pumps off. Fixture, lean for ground ops. Landing lights off. Ah, it's so painful having the yoke in the way now. Didn't used to be that way. Landing light off. Strobes off. Airport diagram up, not that you can see it. Jumping ground, hello, bearing 132 Kilo Tango, clear of 20 right for the east ramp. Jumping ground, bearing 132 Kilo Tango, clear of runway 20 right for the east ramp.
Bear 132 Kilo Tango, John Wayne ground. Good afternoon, taxi to the ramp via Alpha.
Ramp via Alpha, bearing 2 Kilo Tango. Alright, I have a feeling that comm panel may not work exactly as I was thinking, based on the fact that I swapped it from transmitting from 1 to 2. The light was reflected, but I have a feeling that it wasn't actually receiving on COM 2. That's a bit of an edge case. I don't feel like going into detail about it right now. I think that would be distracting, but if anyone's wondering why there was no response on the first one, I think that's what it was. I then recycled the intercom and we're good to go. Correction, I recycled COM 2. I will look at that afterwards. Okay, so we're continuing on Alpha to the east ramp. The FBO is coming on the right. And And that was the I-1 rating. Hopefully we passed. Let's find out. Piaggio, couple of citations. This looks like the ramp for us, doesn't it? Let's go around this citation. Okay, right here is the border of the non-movement area, the striped line and the solid line. So we are now in the non-movement area. Feel free to do donuts.
Bear 132 Kilo Tango, congratulations on passing the I-1.
Alright, 2 Kilo Tango, thanks so much. Okay, that was the I-1. We shall disconnectez-vous.
Disconnected.
Alright, hope that was helpful. Good luck with the rating, and we'll see you for the I-2.